Hey folks, it's Eddie G, DM Fumble, and this is Fumbling Around. This past weekend, I had the chance to attend a convention, PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. This convention was started in 2017, and except for that COVID break, it's been going on ever since. It's a 3-day convention. It runs Friday, Saturday, and 2/3 of Sunday. Today I'd like to go over 5 things I liked about the convention, 3 things I didn't really like, and then I'll wrap it all up with a final summary there at the end. Things I liked. First is the honorable mention. There was a D&D signing from the designers. So I was able to get my DMG signed by Chris Perkins, which I've long been trying to do, to go along with that Matt Mercer autograph that I have from many, many years ago. I also was able to get my favorite module that I ever ran. It's called Speaker in the Dreams, written by James Wyatt. He was there, so I got him to sign that. Definitely a surprise moment for him to see this module that he wrote over 20-some years ago come back for an autograph. He did seem to have a little bit of a geek out moment, and I enjoyed seeing that as well. And now for the things that I actually like. First of all, the events were free. Unlike some of the other larger conventions, there's no tacked on fees for this event or that. If there were additional prices, maybe for a specific event type, I didn't notice it in the things I was looking at. Secondly, the dealer's room. Very, very nice. It wasn't large like some of the other conventions, of course, but there was a lot of space. So you were walking up and down aisles and you were not getting jostled around, getting bumped into by too many people. Granted, it was hard concrete that you're walking on, but you had plenty of space and plenty of just breathing room to just leisurely go about what you were looking for. Also, I thought the badge prices were nice and reasonable. They were $40 a day for a single day pass, including the Sunday, which probably should have been a slight discount, maybe $30 for that one, since it is only 2/3 of a day. The overall weekend is $85. Now, if you volunteer some time with some of the demo companies that are there, like I did, you can probably get your badge for free. I also liked that there was a good variety of games in the event listings. It wasn't just D&D and Pathfinder and World of Darkness. They had a bunch of different other games from, Cthulhu to some other lesser-known games. A nice spread of that, as well as plenty of board games, plenty of card games, seminars, special events. I know there were a couple of live play things that were going on as well. So it did have a nice broad range of things that you could do while you were there. Lastly, I really liked that I felt, as I was walking around, that it was a little bit more leisurely than some of the other conventions. Again, a large convention like Gen Con is just so jam-packed, you're basically racing from event to event. This, you would be doing that based on what you had scheduled, but you had a bit more leisurely time if you wanted to take it that way, and you could talk to people. I spent a lot of time talking to various dealers and other people around the convention and really enjoyed that level of interaction that I was able to get, which I might not have been able to get again at a larger convention. Hey folks, are you enjoying this video? I knew you would. And you know what else I know about you? You're special. You don't want to be part of the 90% of the people that are watching this video that aren't subscribed to this channel. And you can fix that right now. Stand apart from the crowd. Hit that subscribe and the like button while you're at it. Now, back to the show. Okay. And now for the 3 things I didn't like about the convention. The honorable or dishonorable mention will be the weather. Clearly that's outside the control of the convention, but it was rainy and cold for most of the weekend, and anytime you're outside, it was not very pleasant. Luckily, once you do get inside the convention, you don't have to go anywhere. Now let's go back to game registration. I like the fact that the games were free, but to register for the games, you had to start registering at 8 a.m. on that day of the event. So you couldn't pre-plan what you wanted to do for the entire 3-day weekend. You had to basically try to get into something on that first day at 8 a.m., then the next, and then the final day. I read reports about events selling out as early as 8:10, and if you don't know what your day is going to hold, it can be a little bit disjarring if you like to have things planned out, especially if there's certain things you want to get into. This could be a hard time to deal with that when you have to do that right at the early in the morning. Secondly, Downtown Philly. I've lived there. I'm not a big fan of downtown traffic. I'm certainly not a big fan of downtown parking, which could be quite expensive, but it is something you have to deal with, and you have to know where you're going to park, talk to the locals, find cheaper places to park rather than the more expensive ones right near the convention. Maybe I'd like to see the convention move to somewhere in the suburbs where it's a little bit easier to navigate. I think parking would be a little bit easier to handle. That's certainly something I might like to see in the future from this convention. Lastly, I noticed that there were not a lot of freebies handed out at this convention. Now, maybe again, it's a smaller convention. It's also probably the last one of the year, coming here at the beginning of December. Although, actually, no, wait a minute. There is actually one in Atlanta I just heard about that's happening in a week or two. Anyway, not a lot of freebies. Stickers. I don't really care for that kind of stuff. I did get a really nice little pin from WizKids. I signed up for their newsletter with one of my email addresses, showed them the proof, and I was able to pick out a faction pin. I'm a big fan of the Harpers, so I picked out another one of those for my collection. Other than that, there weren't companies giving out, customized D6s or anything like that. Something to consider in the future, especially if you print them up at the beginning of the year, blow them out towards the end. Overall, I really enjoyed the convention. It was 3 days. I really enjoyed being in that one space once you get inside past the checkpoints. You don't have to go out unless you want to go eat at the Reading Terminal Market, which is plenty of great food. You can stay again inside the convention the whole time you're there, not racing all around. It's also a great starter convention if that's something you're interested in attending or going to run games. Again, with a smaller size. I think they average about 30,000 people at the convention versus Gen Con, which will average well above 70,000. So we're talking, 2.5 times maybe, depending on what the final numbers for last year were. Overall, great convention. Deal with the things, know about those things that you have to deal with. Parking is something I will certainly try to check out again next year if I can squeeze it into my schedule. Cheers. Until next time.